you got to take these kids out of their environment and let them see the world. I mean, there are some kids that have never left their hood. You know what I mean? That's all they know is their hood. They've never seen ocean. They never put their toes in the sand and whatnot. I mean, they've never seen tall buildings and skyscrapers and things of that nature. I mean, give a child an opportunity to see the world. Give them the opportunity to see what type of opportunity that they have available to them as they get older.
Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
You're listening to the Black and Blue Podcast, a discussion and celebration of the roles of African Americans and other minorities in U.S. law enforcement. Your host on the Black and Blue Podcast is Dale Peters, a law enforcement professional with over 20 years experience in the business. Hop on board this Black and Blue train of interviews, current events, and pop culture conversations. So get ready. The Black and Blue Podcast is coming at you right now. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the latest episode of the Black and Blue Podcast, where we celebrate diversity in law enforcement. My name is Dale. I'm the host. Thank you for joining me. I love and appreciate the support you've shown me and this show. If you want to continue supporting the show, please like and subscribe to the Black and Blue Podcast YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcast. You know, it really helps me tremendously with those with the algorithms out there. So please do that. And make sure you click on that bell icon on the YouTube channel so you can get notified whenever I drop new content. And check out the Black and Blue Podcast social media pages. You can find us everywhere at Black and Blue US. So today's guest is a 20-year veteran of the Arlington County Sheriff's Department in Virginia. So everyone, please help me welcome in Corporal Jon Harrell. How you doing, sir?
I'm well. How are you, brother?
Excellent, man. Excellent. Glad to see you on. Thank you.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Excellent. So how's your day shaping out there in Virginia right now?
Well, the day in Virginia, I have no knowledge of. I recently retired about a year and a month ago.
Okay.
And I've relocated to Naples, Florida with my family. So as it stands right now, yeah. It's about 80 degrees outside, mostly sunny, with palm trees swinging. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So you a retirement bird down there. What brought you down to Florida though? You got people down there, or?
I don't have anybody down here. For first and foremost, Florida doesn't tax my retirement, so my money came in full load as well.
Right.
So that was a good thing. And it's a simple fact that the weather is very nice. There's beautiful white sand beaches down here. And good things for my family to do and things of that nature. So, it was a no-brainer in my opinion.
No doubt. Well, congratulations on that. Congratulations on a 20-year career. And yes, but unfortunately we got to talk about Virginia. Talk about Arlington County, not so much Florida right now, although, I'd love to get down there at some point. But so I say you had 20 years with Arlington County, Virginia. Tell everybody about what you did there during your time.
Well, when I first got into Arlington, it was an eye-opening experience for me because it was also a breath of fresh air to be able to come into an agency with extensive background in law enforcement that it had. A culture that I embraced and whatnot, and a culture that embraced me. So I first came in and my first assignment was in confinement, and it was all foreign territory to me. I had never been in a jail setting whatsoever and whatnot, and did not know what to expect. But at the same time, I developed a good social skill, a good professional skill, and it spawned from there. I left the detention facility and went into the gang unit, where I was the supervisor and coordinator for the Sheriff's Intelligence Unit, which we profited from having extensive background as far as gang culture is concerned. We did a lot of gang investigations, things of that nature. We spread our knowledge around across the country, where we developed programs and whatnot to train individual law enforcement agencies to develop a program as far as their gang tactic team is concerned and whatnot. And just to provide that type of intelligence and information to share with local law enforcement, federal, state law enforcement jurisdictions on gang intelligence. I left that arena and went into fugitive warrant section for a little bit, court security, and then I ended my training with in the training section with the Northern Virginia Criminal Justice Training Academy as a instructor there under the Arlington County umbrella, which was a jurisdictional academy which surrounds itself by 17 jurisdictions inside Ashburn, Virginia. And that itself was probably one of my most well-received assignments as far as I'm concerned, and also some of the things that I took from it, dealing with individuals, dealing with new people that want to come into law enforcement and learn the concepts and ideas of law enforcement, and develop some camaraderie from different agencies as far as the instructors that were there, and also some of the, like I said before, some of the new breed of law enforcement that is out on the streets right now that I've been responsible for probably almost 900 individuals that are on the streets right now. But, that in itself was eye-opening, along with some lateral responsibilities that I've had as far as like special weapons and tactics is concerned, active counter sniper in the DC and DMV area. So I've done a lot, and I've had a lot of opportunities. If I couldn't have done anything that I just mentioned if it weren't for the opportunities that were bestowed on me from great leadership with the Arlington County Sheriff's Office and individuals that gave me a chance to do what I felt, would bring me joy and fulfillment in my career. So my hat goes off to those individuals for allowing me to do what I did.
Yeah, that's what's up. I mean, you got a breadth of experience there. Sound like you did everything. Tell our viewers and our listeners, where exactly is Arlington County? What's the demographic makeup, the population size and all that?
Well, Arlington County sits right across the bridge west of Washington, D.C., and it's a jurisdiction that's very small. I would imagine, I'm thinking maybe about 26 square mile jurisdiction. Again, like I said, right across the bridge from Washington, D.C. Our department was made up of a little less than 280 sworn individuals with a lot of administrative staff to put in place to supplement some of the things that we were doing in the community. And, we were second as far as, in command as far as what we deal with in Arlington County next to our police department, our brothers in blue. So, the schematics of the situation involving Arlington County Sheriff's Office and the police department are a very cohesive unit, and we did a lot of work together, a lot of training together, and we really appreciate the efforts of each individuals who were involved in the law enforcement aspect in Arlington County and what they've given us. Yeah,
absolutely, and they've come under a lot of microscopes and cameras lately about what's been going on in the DC area, particularly what happened with the insurrection at the Capitol and all that. So I'm sure all those agencies work together. What was your thoughts when you saw all that go down?
Well, it was disappointing, but at the same time, also I felt like I wanted to be there. I wanted to be there to help out. I felt like I wanted to join my brothers in battle and whatnot, and help out as much as I can or as much as I could. And I felt sorry for those individuals who had to go over there and deal with the nonsense that was going on at the Capitol building. But at the same time, I mean, when you're in a hot pocket like the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, you got to expect to have some type of situations that you're going to deal with a large, civil disturbances and things of that nature. And that was one of my fortes when I was in the sheriff's office and also as the Academy Instructor at the Northern Virginia Criminal Justice Training Academy. I taught civil disturbance classes and things of that nature. And at the same time, looking and recognizing some of the things that were going on at the Capitol building that day on January the 6th were a little bit unsettling to me. And a lot of it was just a lack of intelligence and whatnot that was gathered, and a lot of focus and detail that was missing. But at the same time, given the circumstances that those guys were put up against, it looked like from the outside looking in that they did a pretty good job, but it could have been orchestrated a little bit better, in my opinion. But right. It's sad. It's a sad set of circumstances all the way around.
Yeah, it was, and one of the officers lost his life during that, and another civilian did as well. So yeah, hearts go out and prayers go out to those families. But, we moved on and we learned, and hopefully, like you said, something like that doesn't happen again.
Right.
You wanted to be there, but you out the game now. So what's life like for you now, though?
Man, life is in slow motion right now. Life is sitting back and understanding the schematics of the situation that I'm in, trying to figure out what I want to do for my second life. Getting more and more involved with my family. Got a 2-year-old daughter who's about to turn 3 in May.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you, brother. Got a beautiful wife who's a big, support system of mine to be able to do what I want to do and be able to feel comfortable doing it. Like I said before, man, life is in slow motion, and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out what it feels like to be a civilian again. And it's challenging. Yeah. It's hard and whatnot to take a step back, especially when you're dealing with things, in law enforcement perspective. But, it's slow motion right now, and it's what I enjoy right now.
Yeah. And you got to make sure that, you do have your family. So that's one outlet, and make sure you have other outlets as well, because that's one thing that plagues, former law enforcement officers is that, once they retire, a lot of them don't last too much longer after that, only because their life was law enforcement. They had no outlets, and now that's taken away from them, they don't know what to do. So hopefully you can make sure you can fill that void somehow.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I say my daughter's a blessing in disguise, man, because she keeps me young. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got a lot of miles, but the transmission is still good, bro. And So I mean, she keeps me going, man. So, and I appreciate her for doing that, man.
Yeah, no doubt. So, real quick, going back to Arlington County. So I'm just trying to figure out the setup of the sheriff's department. Was there like a patrol function, a detective function, or was that all handled by a PD? What sort of functions did the sheriff's department take care of?
Yeah, well, the sheriff's department, in order for you to be certified as a law enforcement individual in Virginia, you have to have 3 certifications: court security, civil process, and law enforcement. So the sheriff's department, they had awareness in the community, visibility in the community throughout their civil process section, which was their warrant section, which they dealt a lot with civil situations and whatnot, was just an extension of the court systems and things of that nature. But at the same time, they did things as far as patrol, smooth operator opportunities and things of that nature, running radar and LIDAR, assisting with, civil disturbances in the community, assisting with, special weapons and tactics situations in the community, doing a lot in the community inside and out of Arlington, Virginia, especially when mutual aid responsibilities were a team or administered for us to do so. But we took care of the courthouse. We took care of the jail. We also took care of some of the citizens in Arlington County as far as the perspective of law enforcement is concerned. So there was a lot to be involved with the sheriff's office.
Yeah, no doubt. And we talked off air that you had some experience prior to going to Arlington County. What was that?
Yeah, for a very small stint or short stint, I was DOD, Department of Defense Police in West Bethesda, Maryland, at the Carter Rock Division. And just some, federal law enforcement background to myself. I graduated down in Lackland, Texas at the Federal Law Enforcement Academy down there back in 1997. And, I decided that, I wanted to do bigger and better things. I wanted to get an opportunity to do more in law enforcement. So that's what spawned my attention to Arlington County, and went on Arlington County to do some of the things that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. Did you have any military experience? Is that how you got into it?
I didn't have any. I didn't have any military experiences, coming out, from a career as far as an athlete is concerned. I was done playing ball back in 1995 and 96. And I wanted to do something that wasn't routine, that wasn't ordinary. I wanted to do something that was challenging and whatnot, something that I can help out and help people do some things with. So that's when I got involved with law enforcement and whatnot. And like I said before, it inspired me to do a lot of things, and the people that I work with gave me an opportunity to do big things in law enforcement.
No doubt. So what'd you play? What sport?
I played football. Okay. I played linebacker, fullback. And at my heaviest, which was about 290, I was an offensive guard.
All right. Where'd you play?
I played at the University of Pittsburgh. I also played for several semi-pro teams and things of that nature. I played 1 year in the Arena League. played with the Buffalo Destroyers and also with the Johnstown Jackals.
Nice. You ever do that in a law enforcement capacity? I know there's some law enforcement teams. I got some coworkers that participate in some leagues. They have anything like that out there?
Well, you know what? I'm not sure what they have in the Northern Virginia area. I know they have semi-pro professional leagues in the Northern Virginia area, but as far as the law enforcement aspect is concerned, I'm not sure if they have that. I know they have it in New York, but and also in New Jersey, but I'm not aware of them having anything like that in Virginia. I mean, I would have loved to do something like that, but at the same time, I was getting too entrenched in my career, and also when I first started, I was coaching as well at a middle school in Frederick, Maryland, at Thomas Johnson Middle School and High School. So that fulfilled me a lot. As far as the football aspect is concerned, to get 5 years of coaching under my belt, 5 years with 4 championships, I might add, if I want to brag a little bit.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, doing the thing with Thomas Johnson and the kids out in Frederick, Maryland was very, very rewarding, very, very fulfilling in my career as far as a coach is concerned.
All right. You plan on doing any coaching down there in Florida?
And it all depends on what type of opportunities are given and what opportunities are out there. I mean, dealing with this COVID situation, there are a lot of, school districts, and right now their football programs are just now starting up for the springtime coming up because they were affected in the fall. So, athletics, as far as scholastics is concerned in the, adolescence and high school and things of that nature, it's all in a disarray right now. So it's all about being healthy and being entrenched in your community. So if the opportunity were to present itself, I may take a part in it. I'm not sure though.
Yeah. Shout out to my boy Larry Fitz down there in Florida. He's a high school coach down there. Not quite sure how close that is to you, but he's always posting and that what's going on with the schools out there and the kids and his school puts a lot of kids in college. I'll get you in contact with him afterwards. So,
no doubt, love to talk to him.
Yeah, no doubt. So, you decided you wanted to get into law enforcement after your football career. What was that experience like for you? Did your family, did your friends, try to dissuade you into getting into law enforcement, because of the stigma placed on law enforcement, especially in our community, in the Black community? What was that experience like for you?
I mean, I don't necessarily think that my family tried to dissuade me at all. I mean, I have family in law enforcement. A matter of fact, at the Northern Virginia Criminal Justice Training Academy, I shared a wall with my uncle. My uncle was a Fairfax County police officer in Fairfax, Virginia. So, I've never had that type of, negative interaction with my family as far as what career path I tried to establish. I mean, nothing but support, nothing but love. I mean, as times will tell itself throughout my community, throughout some of the things that have gone on in law enforcement throughout my community, there have been individuals in my family that have voiced concern, and rightfully so. But at the same time, they know what type of character I come to the table with. They know what I'm all about, and I'm all about integrity. I'm all about, ambition to do things in the right way and on the right level. So therefore, when it comes to support, I have nothing but the utmost support from my family, because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't get involved in it. And, that's just the way I feel about it.
Right. Growing up, did you ever have you say you never had any negative interactions with law enforcement, so that kind of didn't dissuade you, kind of spurred you to want to get into it? Did your uncle kind of help you, mentor you along the way to kind of push you towards and usher you towards law enforcement and your career through it?
That's one of the things I kind of regret. I really did not reach out to him to give me a basic understanding of what I was diving into. And as far as the interaction that you mentioned before involving law enforcement, I just remember Officer Friendly coming into school when I was in elementary. A big black guy, in full uniform, badge of authority showing and whatnot, dressed to the nines. And he talked to us. He talked to us in a positive manner, and he instilled the fact that, we shouldn't fear him. We should reach out to him in case, we needed help from law enforcement. So, with that aspect and also doing a lot of interaction with law enforcement when I was security for the Pittsburgh Greentree Marriott, when I had issues and I had to call law enforcement for backup and things of that nature, and the professionalism that I was greeted with Greentree Police Department and whatnot, it inspired me to get involved more and more in the law enforcement aspect was concerned. So therefore, when football was over with, I needed to pay the bills. And I thought maybe paying the bills was a good idea for me to get into law enforcement because the money's pretty good. It was pretty good down in the Northern Virginia area and whatnot.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you know, I was able to do some things that I was inspired to do and had a niche to do. And that's just communicate and talk to people and greet people in a professional manner and whatnot, and understand the circumstances that a lot of individuals are going through are not necessarily negative. They just look for somebody positive to be in the picture.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. So I'm glad you got that experience, but you should have, you know, you think, like you said, have some more experience from a mentor perspective. Were you able to mentor anyone behind you along the way?
Oh my goodness, man. Like I said before, you know, when you get cards and you get handshakes and you get hugs from individuals that walk across the stage after they receive their certificate from Department of Justice Services and whatnot as an instructor, I mean, those are the things that I really take, you know, heart to, dealing with individuals, young kids, young millennials coming into the game and whatnot. And they're telling you that they appreciate the things that you've told them. They appreciate the things that you have instilled in them, those values and whatnot, and the training and whatnot that they've received for the last 6 months of their lives and whatnot, how you affect them, how you reach them, how you inspired them to do the right thing. I mean, that's all I can think of, man. And that's all, that's what I appreciate the most. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that more than anything. And I've had a lot of appreciation and a lot of that boys come from my colleagues and whatnot from an administrative level and from a high ranking level. But at the same time, going to the academy as an instructor and touching the souls and touching the minds of these young kids, these young men and women that are coming into this arena of law enforcement, that was very, very gratifying, extremely gratifying. And I really take it to heart about some of the compliments and comments that people have said about me, you know, as an instructor and as an individual who was led, you know, the gang culture and the gang community in Northern Virginia and the DMV area.
Right. You know, speaking on the gang culture and your gang assignment, is there a large gang culture out there in Virginia, in that whole area? You know, what sort of activity, what sort of stuff did you have to deal with in that arena?
I mean, the gang culture was deep in Northern Virginia. The gang culture was deep in Washington, D.C. with their cliques and their crews and their mobs over across the river and whatnot. And even in Maryland, it spilled over in Maryland and whatnot. But Virginia area was kind of exclusive in its own right because of the fact that we had so many individuals who were coming in from all over the country, you know, migrating to the area because of opportunities as far as employment was concerned. So that was the intrusion of all these of all the quote unquote Hispanic gangs that were coming in. I mean, back in the early 90s and whatnot, the construction industry was huge in the Northern Virginia area. So those cats would come into the DMV area and they would work and then they would gangbang second. But at the same time, and we were dealing with a lot of them, we were dealing with a lot of MS-13, a lot of Southside Locos, a lot of 18th Street. But we were also dealing with gangster disciples. We were also dealing with Bloods and Crips and things of that nature. You know, all these indications or indicates from Chicago as far as, you know, some of the gangs that were coming in from Chicago as well. And even in the New York area, we were dealing with that, Trinitarios, a lot of the prison gangs that were coming out, a lot of guys that were getting released from Rikers Island, a lot of guys that were getting released from state institutions were coming back and they were trying to, you know, maintain or reclaim their turf. And so in part, a lot of that, you know, inspired as far as the gang activity is concerned in the Northern Virginia area.
Yeah. Sounds like, you know, they had their handful. You had your hands full out there dealing with that. You guys get a handle on that gang problem?
I mean, we have. I mean, we did a lot of things, you know, back in the early 2000s and late 90s with the federal government, with a lot of things that we were afforded with as far as finances were concerned to bring on this gang initiative programs and whatnot for youth that are in the streets. Mm-hmm. You know, it's instead of just suppression. I mean, we did a lot of teaching. We did a lot of intervention training and programming in the communities with the school districts and some of the Boys and Girls Clubs of America and whatnot. And we also did a lot of intelligence training and gang training to other local agencies, state agencies, and also agencies down south that were getting funneled individual gang activity from Northern Virginia because we were pushing them out. So at the same time, I mean, we did it, like I said before, we did a lot of training, we did a lot of intervention programs, and it wasn't just busting heads and locking kids up, because that's not going to defeat the purpose. The purpose is to grab these kids and get them to understand that there's more that's out there other than the fact that what they're doing on the streets as far as gangbanging is concerned. Yeah,
no doubt. A lot of that outreach and jobs is what they need in the first place.
Right.
A lot of that, especially with the young kids, they get into that because there's no supervision, first of all, in the home. And then a lot of those programs that, were out when we were coming up are no longer there. They've gone by the wayside because of funding and all that sort of stuff. So, they just hanging out, and, who comes to reach out to them? These gangs.
Exactly. So, just like you said, I mean, they're not getting that attention at home. They're getting no love at home. They're getting all that love and all that activity that they want in their life, the positive activity that they want in their life from the streets. And that's all they see. And it's unfortunate that's what they see. And you got to take these kids out of their environment to let them see the world. I mean, there are some kids that have never left their hood. You know what I mean? Right. That's all they know is their hood. They've never seen ocean. They never put their toes in the sand and whatnot. I mean, they've never seen tall buildings and skyscrapers and things of that nature. I mean, give a child an opportunity to see the world. Give them the opportunity to see what type of opportunity that they have available to them as they get older.
Absolutely. Yeah. Out here in the LA area, we right here on the beach, close to the beach, and there's people never been to the beach. They out there in South LA, and they don't go west of the, whatever freeway, the 110 freeway, so they don't go to the beach. So
that's sad.
And I'm like an hour from the beach, and I go a few times a year, and then they like 15 minutes from the beach and ain't never been. So it's interesting. It's interesting dichotomy. So
it is.
Also, another crazy, 2020 was a mess, wasn't it? Hopefully 2021 won't be
ridiculous.
Yeah, hopefully 2021 won't be as bad.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we had a whole bunch of police things and BLM go down. The most famous of them being the George Floyd incident. What was your thoughts when you saw that go down?
It kind of blew up in our faces because of the activity as far as social media is concerned, where it's electric. It's electrifying to see something like that. And it's electrifying that the whole world has seen it. It's not like back in the Rodney King situation where, thank God a guy had a video recorder and whatnot. And, and he did whatever he did as far as recording the situation. But it just seemed like the George Floyd situation involving Minnesota law enforcement was in our face. There was no way to avoid it. The frustration and the rage and confusion and the anger on that law enforcement official's face was all there for us to see. And the fact that, the emotions that were surrounding it, were the people that were involved in the background, what they were saying, what they were hearing, what they were visualizing and whatnot, all played in the picture as to what was going on with the George Floyd situation. And it was unavoidable. It was unavoidable for us to try to ignore it. We couldn't ignore that. There was no way on God's green earth we could ignore what was going down. You know what I'm saying? And that's what frustrated me. It frustrated me with the simple fact that this is live and direct almost. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And with the technology that we have in our faces nowadays, we can't afford to fumble the rock. You know what I mean? We cannot afford to fumble the rock. And that's exactly what they did. They fumbled the rock. And, you got to control your emotions in a setting like that. And that's experience from a law enforcement perspective. You have to learn how to control your emotions and deal with the general public in the right frame of mind. And if you can't, step off so somebody else can step onto the scene and make it right. You know what I mean?
For real.
So that's just that's my forethought involving the situation as far as George Floyd is concerned. It's also unfortunate that this month when that trial starts, the people are going to be live and direct in the courtroom, because I believe the judge has advised the general public that he's going to allow cameras in this courtroom and whatnot. And we're going to see a mess. We're going to see a mess. But at the same time, I mean, let's come together as a community. Let's come together as a culture in this country and understand the rights and wrongs as far as the criminal justice system is concerned. And let's work together. Let's work together to make it right, to get it in the right direction.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah. I mean, that is interesting because that's how the case started to begin with, was with a camera, and it's going to end with cameras in the courtroom. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting on that. And you were talking about, the look on his face and the crowd, the sights and sounds of the crowd as well. And to me, it seemed like it was just, Chauvin, the officer that did the murder. It's more like he was thinking, contempt of cop, y'all not going to tell me what to do. I'm the police.
Right.
I'll let up on his neck when I'm damn well good and ready. And you could just see that on his face. And yeah.
And in layman terms and street terms, I mean, he was power tripping, man. I mean, he was,
no doubt.
He was definitely power tripping. And at the same time, give those young guys that were in uniform at the time of the situation, give them the authority, give them the power to grab that dude by the shoulder and be like, look, man, let me take over. You go over there and you take a deep breath and let us take over. Let us take over the situation. Right. But at the same time, I mean, those guys were in a situation where, their hands were tied behind their back because of the fact that they were young, they were new to the game and whatnot, and they really didn't know exactly what was going on, in my opinion. And I think wholeheartly that they felt bad about the situation. But at the same time, you know how it is. I mean, you know the code. I mean, some things we have to change in law enforcement. Some things we have to change as far as our training is concerned and how much we want people to get involved. And in order for us to do something like that, we have to make change to our training regimens, period, point blank.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, out here in Cali, we've already been doing this. I would like to think, at least in my department, where you must intervene, the intervention law, as a law enforcement officer. When you see another officer or somebody doing something like that, you must intervene. I'm sure a lot of departments already had that, but now they codified it into an actual law now. But I was getting at, the younger officers there, if they would have stepped to Chauvin and pulled him off or whatever, what would have been the ramifications to them? Because for one, Floyd wouldn't have died. So,
right.
What were they stopping?
Right.
If you look at it that way, he could have said, I had this under control, and he wouldn't have died if they pulled him off. So then now what are they standing on? That he could have died? You know what I mean? So you got to flesh those out before you make these other officers go forward with these sorts of situations and intervene.
Right.
So you got to make sure that
right.
They don't have any retaliation through administration or anything like that.
Right. I mean, and like I said before, man, you got to give them the power. You got to give them the power of knowledge. You got to give them the power to training and intelligence to understand, to recognize when situations are going wrong. I mean, tell that dude to fall back. I mean, tell him to fall back. And
well, no doubt.
And somebody needed to take over the situation, and it's unfortunate that there weren't more experienced and more seasoned law enforcement veterans that were there at the situation to understand and recognize that it was escalating in the wrong way. It escalated in the wrong way from the very beginning. Okay. Yeah. So, and I wasn't there. I don't know all the facts, and we weren't there. So, but at the same time, if you're tuning in, for the hearing that's going to take place in the month of March, or if it's still scheduled to take place in the month of March, you're going to see things that you did not see. You're going to hear things that you did not hear, and have an open mind to the concept of what we deal with in law enforcement, but at the same time, recognize when wrong was wrong. And it was wrong. Period.
And it was wrong. That was wrong. Yeah. And then among the other things that happened in 2020, we had Ahmaud Arbery, we had Breonna Taylor. It just seems like everything was just stacking. And then, George Floyd was the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say. And then we had the unrest and the protest. You were gone, retired before, all that went down. Is that correct?
Well, I was still active with Breonna Taylor. I was still active with several other incidents that happened in law enforcement in the African American community. And, and that's the good thing about being an instructor. You can use these as tabletop discussions with the youth that is entering law enforcement. And you can set the record straight right then and there before they go out in the streets. You can take these examples and you can use them for training tools and knowledge as to what is going on in law enforcement. Right. And as soon as some of these things transpire, with Black Lives Matter and things of that nature, I mean, to me and to you, none of this is new. This stuff's not new.
Nah,
this has been going on in this country for decades.
The 60s, the 50s.
Yeah. It's just that, like I said before, technology is allowing us to see this stuff live and direct. You know what I mean? The body cameras that are coming out, the YouTube videos, the Facebook lives and Twitter lives and stuff like that. I mean, people have cameras everywhere you walking around. I mean, everywhere you go, people have cameras.
Yeah.
So I told those kids coming out, I said, you got to make sure you understand that every single time you walk out your house, you are live and direct.
No doubt.
You're going to be on TMZ. You're going to be on YouTube live before you get home if you do something wrong. Trust and believe that.
Yeah.
So walk around with your uniform and badge of authority like somebody is recording you every single minute of your shift. And do the right thing.
Yep.
Do the right thing.
I remember the first one that hit that home for me was, remember the Philando Castile. That was live on Facebook. That shoot, and that one was just like, wow, that really just happened, and that was crazy. Yep. That was crazy, because he, that was streaming live, and he was like, hey, I'm going to do this. He advised the officer, and then he still got shot. So,
but you also have to take for example, and also take in consideration the fear factor that a lot of law enforcement officials encounter in their career. And I'm not saying that it's white fearing black. I'm not saying that it's black fearing white. It's the fear of the freaking unknown. That's what it is. It ain't had nothing to do with skin color. It's the fear of the unknown that a lot of individuals come in contact with. Because me as Academy Instructor, I understand where you're coming from before you get into the door. I know you were a chef. I know you were a cruise ship director. I know you were a classically trained pianist. I know you were a collegiate football player and an athlete. I know you were all that before you decided that you wanted to take a dive into law enforcement. So, and I understand the fact that, you're going out into the unknown and you're fearing the unknown and uncertain circumstances and whatnot when you conduct a traffic stop on your own with no backup and you consider an individual in the car in front of you to be a threat. He's only a threat if you entitle him to be a threat. If you don't communicate with him well, if you don't conduct yourself in a professional manner, you have nothing to be afraid of. Now, you have something to be concerned about. You should be concerned about every traffic stop that you conduct or with every time you interact with a human being out on the streets, but you don't have to fear for your safety. You don't have to. If you have the proper training and you know how to respond and talk to people, you're not going to be afraid. I was never afraid to engage with anybody. Never. And not because of the fact that I'm 6'2", 250 pounds. It had nothing to, but at the same time, it had something to do with my physical presence because my uniform was always crisp, crisp.
Yes.
But at the same time, my language was crisper, if that's a word. So, I would put people at ease when I interacted with them. And I've done that throughout my career, and that's one of the reasons why I've never had any excessive force situations involved. I've had hundreds of hands-on situations where I have to detain somebody, what I'm saying? And I've learned to do that based upon my training and my skill set from being in law enforcement.
No doubt. You got to be aware, but you got to treat everybody professionally, like the way you want to be treated. And I'm the same way. I haven't had, I haven't had any excessive force complaints myself. Over the years, I got over 20 years in the game, still going. God willing, I'll be, knock on wood, I'll be able to retire here in a few years, just like you, and living on the beach somewhere. Yeah. I'm trying, brother. I'm trying. The wife is she's from Costa Rica, so I'm trying to get us over there after we both retire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Living that beach life in Costa Rica. That's what I'm talking about.
Waves and sunshine. Waves and sunshine are coming your way, brother. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, the training aspect is what I'm concerned about. And throughout my career as a use of force instructor, all of that SWAT stuff that I've been a part of and sniper stuff that I've been a part of, I think one of the biggest things that I've done in my career that I can really hang my hat on that I really thought was great training was critical incident training. Critical incident training and dealing with the mental health. I mean, man, if I would have had that throughout my first couple months in the academy and throughout my first couple years in law enforcement, I would have been a better off, police officer or deputy sheriff to begin with. But when I took those courses, later in my career, I was like, wow, I mean, these are individuals that law enforcement is coming across in our streets right now that they're not prepared for. They're just not prepared for that mental illness, and they're not prepared for anybody who's going to snap back at them. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's a way of dealing with things. And unfortunately, because of budgets and things of this nature and finances and money that, are on the back burner in law enforcement nowadays.
Right. And that's what I was going to get into, too, that, you got these incidents. It seems like more mentally ill people were out on the streets than they were, 20, 30, 40 years ago. And so now we have to deal with it as police. And that's because, funding on those programs have been cut. So now they're releasing those people. And then there's homelessness that a lot of communities are dealing with. So, and the police are the ones that they call. But on the flip side, now they, with this reform and reimagining police, they don't want the police to respond to these sorts of things. So how's that look? How's that going to work for you? What do you think about that?
Well, you know what, man, I never was the type of individual to use the word defund or reform or anything like that. It's reallocating money. Everybody has a freaking fiscal budget every single year, and it's reallocating money. Just like you stated, a couple seconds ago, one of the reasons why you get a lot of people who are mostly disturbed that are walking out on the streets because they have no resources. Mm-hmm. A lot of states have taken away money from the mental hospitals. They've closed them. They shut them down and whatnot. And now these individuals, they're dealing with counselors. They're dealing with social workers that wear a badge and a uniform. And what they're doing is they're taking these guys and these gals to jail. And when they're in jail for a certain amount of time and whatnot, and they receive whatever little bit of medication that they get, whatever little bit of mental health treatment that they get. And guess what? They give them a little pill pack and they boot them outside. Where are they going? Yep. Where are they going when they go outside? They're going right back into the streets, right back into the communities that they came from. And we, again, have to deal with them. So, as far as like the funding is concerned or reallocating money, we need to put money in the hands of social services so social services can work directly with law enforcement. So a badge and a gun doesn't show up to a crisis situation when an individual is dealing with mental health issues. So you're there just for backup purposes, just in case you need to go hands on with somebody or use a level of force to restrain an individual. Either educate yourself on CIT training, which is critical incident training, or mental health training, or work with individuals who are trained to do so and have them respond with emergency personnel if the situation needs so.
Yeah, in my department, we worked with the county, and they had mental health professionals that worked in our department. They would go out and deal with these people on calls or proactively go out in the homeless communities and get these people services that they need. But now since COVID is gone, they pulled them from our departments, and I don't know what they're doing, working virtually, which I don't know how you work virtually with people in the homeless community. But, that's neither here nor there right now for this discussion. But that's what we're dealing with.
I mean, you like you said, I mean, you can't work virtually. I mean, that's almost like dispatching law enforcement to work virtually. Oh, let me pull this call up on this computer and let me talk to this individual who's threatening to kill himself. I mean, how the hell are you going to do something like that?
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, it's not feasible to do anything like that. And like you said before, COVID has really hampered, the efforts as far as like training is concerned. It's hampered the efforts as far as education is concerned in the law enforcement community. And we have to get back to the path of which we knew, and we have to get back, the way we used to travel, before this incident happened, and or before this virus happened. And unfortunately, right now, I mean, we're seeing a lot of regression of what we've done in law enforcement just because of this virus and the fact that it's affected the community and the neighborhoods in which we police. And we're vulnerable and susceptible to all of this because of the contact we come in contact with, or the people that we come in contact with, and taking it back home to our family members and things of that nature. And I myself, I've lost two individuals that I really, had a good relationship with due to COVID, and both of them were in law enforcement, and it's a sad situation.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Condolences.
Thank you, bro.
How about yourself? You been vaccinated, or what's your plan with that?
You know what? I have not been vaccinated yet. I mean, right here in the county where I live at in Collier County, Florida, they're taking care of the seniors first and foremost.
Yeah.
Anybody over the age of 65 is.
I was gonna say you're not senior yet, bro. You're not senior yet.
Nah. I'm not even 50 yet. But at the same time, I mean, you know what? I'm cautious where I go. I use face coverings where I go, and one of the reasons why is because like I said before, man, I got a daughter that I have to be responsible for and whatnot. And you know, I've had I think I've had 6 tests so far, and they've all been negative. You know, unfortunately, my wife got bit with the bug, and you know, she gutted it out and whatnot, and we nursed her back to health and things of that nature. So I've had firsthand experience of what it's like, you know, being surrounded with a COVID situation or a COVID patient and whatnot. And, you know, we did what the doctors told her to do and things of that nature, and all the healthcare professionals and whatnot. And she got over it. And hopefully she developed the antibodies and whatnot. But at the same time, I wasn't affected by her virus. I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, I take care of myself health-wise, vitamin C, vitamin D, multivitamins, things of that nature, try to get a little bit of exercise here and then, or here and there. But at the same time, I mean, I just been knocking on wood. I haven't been affected by it. And the people that are around me in this community that I know of haven't been affected by it either.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Make sure you continue to wash your hands and wear your face coverings and, you know, all that. Yeah. So once everybody's vaccinated, we can get back to some semblance of normalcy, because that's what we need. All this social distancing and virtually and no bars, no movie theaters, no restaurants. Yeah, all that's that's working on us. That's working on our mental.
And again, just like you said, the mental aspect. I mean, there are a lot of people. You're dealing with the physical aspect of COVID, but now you're starting to deal with the mental aspect of COVID, and people, you know, not being able to go back to their normal. They're becoming, you know, mentally disturbed, and their suicide rate is up and whatnot amongst teens, because teens. I mean, there's no high school prom. There's no high school dance. There's no graduations. I mean, you're doing little, you know, car convoys when it comes to graduation, and people sticking their head out the windows and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of these young kids that are losing a lot of things, man, and we need to be, you know, conscious of that, and you need to talk to these individuals to make sure that their head's on right.
Yeah. My son was one of those affected, because he graduated from high school last year, and they didn't have a prom, they didn't have a graduation. A regular graduation. They didn't have grad night where they go to Disneyland or another amusement park. You know, where they do that all night. I remember doing that when I was in high school, and you know, it's sad. And now he's in his first year of college, and they doing virtual in college, so he's kind of missing out on that college experience now too. So hopefully we can get back so he can experience at least the college experience. You know.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one thing that he'll never forget in his entire life. He'll never forget his time in college. And that's for people who, you know, aspire to be, you know, prepared for society and whatnot. I mean,
yes,
you know, that's big. And I hope we do get back, because a lot of people are missing that.
Yeah. All of us. All right, brother, man. What's next for you on the horizon?
Man, you know, there's some things that I've been doing in the IT field. That a friend of mine got me involved with. I'm trying to get into some front end programming and whatnot, and probably some business analyst stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, if I have a calling to get back in law enforcement for whatever it may be, I mean, I want that calling to be something that I had developed passion for, that I had in the past and whatnot. And because, like I said before, I'm not yet 50, but at the same time, I mean, I've gone through 3 knee surgeries and things of that nature, from, you know, what the wear and tear on my body and whatnot. But, you know, I'm still capable of getting it done. I still keep myself in shape mentally and physically and whatnot. So, you know, whatever is in store for me, I am going to do it on my terms this time. Before I did it on else terms, but now I'm going to do it on my terms. And if it's something that does not agree with me and my family, I'm just not going to do it. I mean, back in the day, I was selfish. You know what I'm saying? I was selfish in the manner of what I wanted to do in my law enforcement career. And that's one of the reasons why I got divorced and whatnot. But I mean, now it's Jon Harrell terms, and that's what I'm going to do. If my future is bright for me, so to speak.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
You said maybe some IT. You got a background in that, in programming? Or?
You know what? I have nothing involved with IT. I mean,
really?
I'm just now starting to get the Zoom aspect down pat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the little virtual chats and whatnot. I got a little bit of IT when I was at the Academy as an instructor and whatnot, learning, as the days went on and whatnot, jumping in feet first. But, it's something that, I know is geared towards the future. Mm-hmm. And even in law enforcement, IT stuff is geared towards the future. So, you know what? If you ain't catching up, you're gonna fall back. You're gonna get left behind. So
no doubt.
I wanna make sure I'm equipped to even deal with my daughter as she grows up in the IT field and everything becoming digital. Everything is digital nowadays. So I gotta keep up. So that's what I was doing. Yeah.
My current assignment, I work internet crimes against children. So it's all over the internet. So that's all IT based.
Yeah.
With figuring out IP addresses and all that sort of stuff, and telephones, cell phones, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm getting all that training, and maybe I could parlay that into something once I leave law enforcement. But like we talked about before, having something to do once you get out, and hopefully this podcast can blow up a little bit more. I appreciate you for coming on and helping out with that.
Hey, brother, appreciate you having me, man. I saw your work on LinkedIn and whatnot, and I know you were doing big things and whatnot, and I wanted to be involved. I wanted a little taste of that tea, so I appreciate it, bro.
Much love.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, but you're not done yet. Like I mentioned before, we got a little trivia game for you. This game is called
Black or Blue, 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 Black or Blue.
Come on.
Let's get it. Let's do it.
All right, this game is called Black or Blue. Your category today is called Flagged on the Play. Flagged on the Play. I'm going to just give you a national flag, and you just tell me, is the major color of that country's flag black or blue? Does it have the color black in the flag, or does it have the color blue in the flag? Real simple, right? All you got to say is black or blue. Your first country is Samoa. Samoa, do they have black in their flag, or do they have blue in their flag?
Definitely black. The Samoan flag is definitely black.
You would be incorrect. Samoa's flag has blue in it, as you see right there. That is the Samoan flag.
All right.
Sorry about that, bro.
It's education time for me. It's education time.
How about Iraq?
Yeah, Iraq.
Yes. Black or blue?
I'm going to go with more blue.
They are black. That is the Iraqi flag right there. Man. Come on now. 0 for 2. Come on. Let's close it out. Let's close this out. Let's close this out. We got this. Okay. We got this. How about Egypt? Black or blue?
Blue. More blue.
Incorrect again. That is Egypt. It looks just like the Iraqi flag, except with that symbol is a little different there.
Yeah, it does. It does look like the Iraqi flag.
Yeah.
I got to redeem myself, man.
You got a few more where you can pull this out. How about Malawi? Malawi, black or blue?
Oh my gosh, man. I don't even know where that's at.
50-50 shot. 50-50 shot.
Oh, blue. I'm gonna stick with blue. I gotta get blue.
Oh
gosh.
That's a good looking flag though. Red, black, and green. Red, black, and green.
Oh my gosh.
I know you got this one. Finland. Finland.
Oh, come on now. Blue and white.
That is all right. We got you. Finland. All right. How about Syria? Black or blue?
I know Syria has a lot of red. I'm gonna go with black.
Correct on that one too. All right. It kind of looks like those other ones.
Absolutely.
Egypt and Iraq.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How about Haiti?
Haiti. The Haitian flag. The Haitian nation.
Haitian flag.
Oh, man.
Black or blue?
Give me blue. Give me blue with that.
All right, you would be correct. Yeah. That is the Haitian flag right there.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more for you. Maybe we can pull this out. How about France?
France, more blue. I'm cooking with gas now.
France is blue. Yeah. All right. In crunch time, you pulling through. How about your last flag? We talked about this country, Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, yeah, that's your retirement destination. Your spouse is from Costa Rica. Let me blue. Let me get blue.
Yes, indeed. You pulled that out. That is the Costa Rican flag. You did in the end pull out the clutch. We gonna call you the winner. Yeah, it started out a little rocky, but you got through it. You got through that.
Yeah. Not leaning in my direction.
Nah, but you pulled it back on the starboard side. So that's awesome. Good work there. Good work there, man. I appreciate you coming on. How about any last words for our audience before we get you out of here?
Hey, listen, man, I appreciate you having me, and I look forward to doing bigger and better things with you, hopefully in the future. Dale Peters, y'all, Black and Blue podcast. Get your facts together before you come on board, else you'll look like me with those trivia questions that he has in store for you. But I appreciate the fact that you had me on board, whatnot, and Black and Blue podcast law. It's for real. It's live and direct. Thank you very much, Dale.
Thank you, man. You be safe out there in Florida. Enjoy the palm trees and the white sand beaches. And
every day, all day. Every day, all day.
All day. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Much love.
God bless you.
All right, y'all. That's it for this episode of the Black and Blue podcast. I want to say bless up to retired Arlington County, Virginia Sheriff's Corporal Jon Harrell for stopping by the program. I appreciate your service out in Virginia and wish you and your family all the best down there in Florida. If you guys out there enjoyed this episode, be sure to give the show a like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, or rate it 5 stars on your favorite podcast platform. I'll be back right here in a couple weeks with another fantastic interview, but till then, y'all already know. Stay black and blue. I'll holler at you. Peace.
This has been a Maitre D' Entertainment presentation.